There is a week each year when the veil of reality is torn, forcing us to face the truth about who we think we are and the power we truly possess. This week is that week. What happens in the next 7 days, starting today, July 20th, will not just define your month. How you navigate this energy will define your personal power for the rest of the year. Most people will feel the approaching intensity as random chaos. They will be shaken, confused, and ultimately broken by the pressure, without understanding why. They will be victims of the storm. You, by hearing this now, have the chance to be different. You will have the chance to reign. Consider this transmission not as a horoscope, but as an urgent warning. A survival map for the week when the sun's brightest light will meet Pluto's deepest shadow. It is a week of total confrontation between our ego and our soul, between our public identity, what we show the world, and our best-kept secrets and desires. The universe is about to place a mirror in front of you, and the image it will reflect may be glorious or terrifying. My purpose here is to guide you through this energetic minefield. I will show you the warning signs, the whispers the cosmos will send before the main storm. I will decode the exact day of the great revelation, the turning point of the week, and I will show you the crucial choice you will be presented with at the end. If you ignore these signs, if you treat this week like any other, you run the real risk of being consumed by drama, of having your secrets painfully exposed, and of seeing your ego wounded. If you understand them, if you use this map, you can walk through the fire, face your own shadow, and acclaim a level of power and authenticity you did not know you possessed. The difference between mastery and victimhood in the coming days is not a matter of luck. It is a matter of preparation and awareness. The choice of how you will live this week is yours, and it begins now. Our journey through this dangerous territory begins with the first signs. The universe never screams without first whispering, and the first whispers, the first clues that the great storm is approaching, will arrive this Sunday and Monday, and you need to be listening carefully. The universe never screams without first whispering. Before a great storm, the air becomes still, the animals grow quiet, the light changes color. In the same way, before a great astrological storm, the cosmos sends subtle signs, omens for those who are paying attention. Today, Sunday, the 20th, and tomorrow, Monday, the 21st, are the days of the whispers. To ignore them is to enter Tuesday's crisis completely unprepared and vulnerable. To hear them is to arrive at the battle already knowing the enemy's plan, which, as we will see, is often a part of ourselves. The first whisper arrives today, Sunday, with the moon passing over the Pleiades star cluster. This is not a common planetary alignment. The Pleiades, known as the Seven Sisters, are one of the most mystical and revered star groupings in almost all of Earth's ancient cultures. They are not seen as common stars, but as a portal, a beacon of ancestral wisdom, a reminder of our cosmic home and our greater destiny. When the moon, our emotional and subconscious body, aligns with this energy, it opens a direct channel to our deepest and most ancient wisdom. What should you watch for today? Pay attention to feelings of deep nostalgia, to a longing you cannot name. Memories may arise of who you were before the world told you who you should be. Dreams of landscapes you have never seen, yet they feel familiar. A sudden urge to look at the stars. This is your soul trying to remind you of your original plan, of your true mission, before it was buried under the demands of the ego and material life. If you ignore this call to your ancestral truth today, if you drown in Sunday's distractions, you will arrive at Tuesday's crisis without your most important compass. You will not know how to distinguish the voice of your ego from the voice of your destiny. This is the first warning. The second whisper arrives tomorrow, Monday, the 21st, and it is much more personal and direct. The moon will be in an exact conjunction with Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, relationships, and crucially, our self-worth. This is the whisper of the heart. After the cosmic whisper of the stars, the universe sends us a signal through our most intimate connections and our relationship with ourselves. What to expect on Monday? A conversation, a meeting, or even a text exchange may suddenly reveal the truth about a relationship. Someone's mask might fall for an instant. You might have a sudden and uncomfortable clarity about the true value of a connection in your life. Or more importantly, you may be confronted with your own sense of worth. You might find yourself in a situation where you feel undervalued, and a voice inside you, for the first time, will refuse to accept it in silence. Pay attention to all interactions involving love, money, and pleasure. They will be the stage where this whisper will manifest. If you ignore the truth of your heart on Monday, if you accept less than you are worth, if you refuse to see the truth about a relationship, you will enter Tuesday's crisis with an unprotected heart, with your defenses weakened, ready to be manipulated by the shadow of power. A whisper from the stars about your destiny. A whisper from the heart about your worth. These are the two gifts, the two warnings, that the universe offers you before the great confrontation. Honor them. Meditate on them. Write about what you feel. For the storm that is brewing, for Tuesday will not have the subtlety of a whisper. It will have the force of a thunderclap, designed to shake the foundations of your throne. And the thunder echoes on Tuesday, July 22nd. Mark this day. If there is a single day this week that will define your course, that will test your power, and that will reveal your truth, it will be this one. The whispers are over. The preparations are done. Today, the sky opens for the great confrontation, what I call the soul's eclipse. In the early hours of this day, the sun, the center of our solar system, the source of all life and light, the ruler of our identity, our ego, and our life force, enters its own kingdom. It enters the sign of Leo. This is the sun at its maximum potency, in its domicile, on its throne. It is the energy of the king in his glory, of the actor at the center of the stage under the main spotlight, of gold in its purest and most brilliant state. When the sun is in Leo, we feel a collective and personal call to shine, to express ourselves authentically and creatively, to be seen and recognized. Our confidence tends to increase, and our need to be the protagonists of our own story becomes paramount. It is an energy of pride, of passion, of generosity, and of sovereignty. For a moment, the universe invites us to celebrate ourselves, to be proud of who we are, and to radiate our light to the world without apology, but in a display of cosmic irony and relentless wisdom. On the very same day that the sun reaches its peak of brilliance, on the other side of the sky, Pluto, the lord of the underworld, reaches the peak of its darkness and power. It reaches its annual opposition with the sun. Pluto is the hidden power of our solar system and of our psyche. It rules everything we sweep under the rug, everything we prefer not to see. Our deepest secrets, our most visceral fears, our desires for power and control, our obsessions, our traumas, and our capacity for radical transformation. Pluto is not subtle. It is the great purifier. Its function is to bring to the surface everything that is rotten, false, repressed, and stagnant, so that it can be exposed to the light, purged, and transformed. A Pluto opposition is the moment when this subterranean force, which normally operates in the shadows, emerges from the depths and faces us, face to face, demanding a confrontation. Tuesday's dynamic is, therefore, that of the brightest light being directly confronted by the darkest shadow. It is our desire to be seen and applauded, Sun in Leo, being confronted by the naked truth of what we hide, Pluto. It is our public performance meeting our private reality. It is our ego meeting our soul. The result is a soul's eclipse. The radiant light of our ego is temporarily blocked by the massive truth of our shadow. What does this mean for you in practice? Secrets may be revealed, both yours and those of other people, with a structure-shaking force. Power dynamics in relationships and at work will become unbearably clear. The true motivation behind your actions and the actions of others will be exposed without filters. This is a day of radical truth. Trying to maintain a facade, trying to pretend or manipulate, will be impossible and potentially disastrous. What you discover about yourself on this day, about your pride, about your fears, about where you truly hold power and where you have given it away, has the ability to free you forever or to imprison you even further in your own shadow games. The choice of how to deal with the truth that emerges will be entirely yours. Tuesday is not a day for impulsive actions or for performances. It is a day for silent observation and for brutal honesty with yourself. It is the turning point of our weekly journey, the fire that purifies the ground. And after this revelation, after the light and the shadow face each other, the universe does not abandon us in the chaos. It offers us an opportunity, the chance to plant a new seed in the earth that has just been purified by this fire of truth. And after the fire, the earth rests. After the brutal revelation, the cosmos offers us a moment of stillness and a choice. Tuesday's storm, the great soul's eclipse, was not an end, but a purification. It did not come to destroy, but to clear the ground. It removed the weeds of self-delusion, burned the fragile facades of the ego, and plowed the soil of your identity with the sharp blade of truth. Now on Thursday, the 24th, we arrive at the true climax of our weekly journey, the moment that gives meaning to all the previous chaos, the portal of the new moon in the sign of Leo. This is the moment to plant. But the question that will define your future, the question that Pluto, still observing you from the other side of the sky, asks you in a whisper is, what will you plant in this newly purified earth? To understand the magnitude of this choice, we must first decode the mechanics of this new beginning. Every new moon is a portal of beginnings. It is the moment of sacred darkness in the sky, when the sun and the moon meet at the same point, uniting our conscious identity, sun, and our emotional heart, moon. It is the 0 point of the lunar cycle, the fertile soil of the cosmic midnight, the most potent moment to plant the seeds of intention for the month ahead. And this specific new moon happens in the realm of Leo, the sign of the heart, of sovereignty, of creativity, of personal shine, and of authentic self-expression. Therefore, the seed we are universally invited to plant is the seed of a new self, a self that is braver, more creative, more visible, more of a leader in its own life, more aligned with the nobility of our heart. But, and this is the crucial point of the entire week, this is not a common, easy, and optimistic new moon. It is born in direct and exact opposition to Pluto, the Lord of the Shadow and of the truth we just met in Tuesday's crisis. This opposition creates an immense tension. It is like trying to plant a delicate, golden flower under the intense and penetrating gaze of an underworld god. Pluto, from its position, acts as a cosmic lie detector. He will not allow you to plant a seed of falsehood in this soil he has just purified. He demands radical honesty. He demands that the seed you plant be the seed of the truth that was revealed in the crisis, and not an attempt to rebuild the fantasy that was destroyed. In this purified soil, under this intense gaze of Pluto, you will have, metaphorically, two seeds in your hands. Your choice between them will determine the quality of your sovereignty for the next 6 months. The first seed is that of the old and wounded ego. After the uncomfortable revelation of Tuesday, after having faced your shadow, it is the seed of reaction. It is the seed of revenge, of pride, of the need to prove that you were right all along. It is the attempt to rebuild the same castle as before, but with higher walls and an even shinier facade to hide the vulnerability that was exposed. It is the choice to say, I saw my shadow, but I reject it. I will perform with even more force so that no one ever sees it again. If you choose this seed, it may even sprout, driven by the force of Leo, but it will bear the bitter fruits of isolation. It will create an empty sovereignty, a reign of facade, for it will not be rooted in the deep truth of your soul, but in the quicksand of your wounded pride. The second seed is that of humble and integrated truth. It is the seed that was found in the ashes of Tuesday's crisis. It is the seed of humility, of vulnerability, of authenticity, and of courage. It is the seed that says, I saw my shadow, and I integrate it. I saw my truth, and I honor it. I no longer need to perform to be worthy of power. My power resides in my truth, however imperfect and human it may be. It is the choice to build a new self, based on the reality that Pluto revealed, and not on the fantasy that he destroyed. It is the courage to be real, instead of being perfect. This seed may seem smaller, quieter, and less glorious at first, but it is the only one that contains the life force of your soul. It is the only one that can grow into a strong tree, with deep roots in Pluto's underworld and branches that reach for the sun's light in Leo. It is the seed of true reign. And the universe, in its grace, offers the first blessings to those who choose the path of truth. In the days following the new moon, the waxing moon will meet Jupiter, the planet of expansion and luck, and the royal star Regulus, known as the heart of the lion. These are not accidents. They are cosmic signs. These are the first rays of sun that will come to nourish your new and authentic seed, promising growth, opportunities, and the rediscovery of your true nobility, the kind that needs no performance, for it simply is. This week's journey, therefore, leads us from the confrontation with the shadow to the choice of the seed. It is not an easy week, but it is a week of immense opportunity for a fundamental realignment of your identity and of your power. The choice is yours. The seed is in your hands, and how you nurture it from now on will define the nature of your new reign, a sovereignty based on performance or on the silent power of truth. And the answer to that question defines your future. This week's crossing has taken you from the whisper to the thunder, from the confrontation to the choice. The transformation offered to you is not that of becoming a flawless and shadowless king or queen, but rather a whole sovereign, a sovereign who is no longer afraid of their own basement, who is no longer afraid of the truths that dwell there. The power of a blind sovereign is fragile and exhausting. It depends on constant brightness, on the court's applause, on the denial of its own shadows. It spends immense energy to maintain the facade, always with a terrifying fear that the truth about its power, its motivations, and its secrets will be exposed. The conscious sovereign, on the other hand, the archetype you have been invited to embody this week, finds their power in the exact place they once feared. They descend into the basement, turn on a light, and face their shadow, not as an enemy to be defeated, but as an exiled part of their own strength. And in doing so, They discover that the shadow was not a monster, but the guardian of their greatest treasures, of power, of resilience, and of authenticity. True sovereignty, Pluto's lesson, is the integration of light and shadow. It is to reign over an entire kingdom, and not just over the sunny half of it. This week's journey has handed you the key to your own underworld. You no longer need to fear what is hidden. You have learned in practice that the truth, no matter how uncomfortable at the moment of revelation, is always an ally of your evolution. Pluto is no longer an enemy to be feared, but a powerful guide to your own depths. Many will leave this week with only the memory of the drama and intensity, feeling shaken and confused. They saw the shadow, got scared, and ran back to the superficial light without learning the lesson, but not you. You received the map. You understood the sacred architecture of the confrontation. You chose consciousness. And that makes all the difference. You didn't just survive the crisis, you used it to evolve. If this journey of confrontation and integration has resonated with your soul, if you are ready to rule your kingdom with both light and shadow, honor this transmission and anchor your new strength by liking this video. And as a final decree for this week of revelation, go to the comments section and declare your courage to the universe and to yourself. Write the words, "I face the shadow." Feel the power of no longer running away. Feel the strength that comes from becoming whole and having nothing left to hide. Read the declarations of other brave souls and know that you are not alone on this journey of integration. And share this survival map with all the sovereigns you know who are secretly fighting their own demons and who need to be reminded of their power. Finally, subscribe and turn on notifications, because shadow integration is not a one-time event, but a continuous practice of mastery. Soon, the planet Mars, the warrior of action, will form a new aspect in the sky. The question will no longer be, can you see your shadow? Component placement, but rather, can you act from the power you found in it? The journey from consciousness to action is just beginning. Remember, a true sovereign does not fear the darkness. They transform it into power.